I'm Maria Fontanazza with MedAd News, and I'm here with Joy Kelly and Sarah Liebowitz, both of whom are Executive Vice President and Group Creative Directors at ConcentricLife. So today we're going to talk about what fuels creativity, especially in this very crowded landscape in healthcare marketing. Before we jump in, I'd like to hear a little bit about what you both do at ConcentricLife. So Sarah, if you could tell us.
Sure. At ConcentricLife, we're brought in to lead what we're doing as a center of excellence, which is finding the right touch points throughout the creative process to really elevate the work. Sometimes that comes in and really looking at a brief, tearing it up and building it back up with strat. And sometimes it comes in at the end and seeing where we can add some special sauce.
Okay, so let's get to the first question. You've both had long, successful careers building creative and award-winning work. And Joy, I'll start with you. What is your tried and true approach to developing impactful and standout creative?
In my opinion, it comes down to the brief. And when everybody uses this phrase very casually, like garbage in, garbage out. And I think getting breakthrough creative requires asking the bold questions that will lead to the bold answers. And a lot of the times, our job comes down to protecting the briefing process before it even gets to creative. A lot of the times we're editing out marketing jargon and trying to find the soul of the question, the challenge, the brand. And so if we can do that successfully, if we can arrive at a really potent, meaningful and human challenge for creatives, the job then becomes surrounding that challenge with the meaningful stimuli. Cannot tell you how many times the thing that got my light bulb on was a quote I read on a Reddit thread or on Instagram. So the world outside of the PowerPoint decks is where a lot of the magic happens. And so I know that's the answer about the creativity, and kind of getting there to me lies not in the creative process, but in the briefing process and giving the creatives what they need.
And Sarah, so Joy talked about asking the bold questions, and it sounds like that's part of your process. So what are some of those key steps in the process or strategies to help you generate those breakthrough ideas?
What's interesting is that everybody has a different process. I think that you're asking the question, that every creative is but how do we do it? And every creative, boss that I've had from time immemorial has just been honey, when you know, and now that we're in this position, I'm oh, well, no one knew the answer. So the way that I'll answer this question is I'm going to answer in two areas, one as a creative and then one as a brand steward. As a creative, and it's interesting, I was just talking about this a little bit earlier today. I had a creative director once tell me that to be my own creative director, and it was kind of a joke because he had given me some epically bad, direction, and I was kind of ribbing him about it. And he was sometimes you just gotta figure this out on your own. And my takeaway from that, it was actually profound advice, because I was man, you're right. I have to figure out for myself what is the right way to solve this problem. What are the right questions to ask? How am I going to embody the entrepreneurial spirit to, find my own resources and essentially define for myself what good looks like. And that, I think, is the thing, is everyone has their own process, but everyone also has their own opinion and their own special way of solving. And that's what makes an idea unique, is something that comes from you. And as a brand steward, I will say it's, nobody likes this answer, but the simplest answer is when you're faced with the decision on how to execute work. And everyone's got that decision of okay, well, am I going to do great work or am I going to just get this done? The simplest answer is to just not do bad work. Is to say, you know what, this brief isn't going to give us good rewards. I'm not going to approve it. And this work, it's not good enough. So I'm not going to say it's okay, let's just run with it. sometimes a work is passable with MLR. And like, okay, well, we know that this one's going to get over the plate, but is it really great? No. So I think that that's what makes breakthrough work, is actually just having the bravery to say, it's just not ready yet. It's not crispy yet.
But that's like really nuanced, because it sounds like an obvious statement, just don't do the bad work, you know? But I think in healthcare specifically, that trap is always there waiting for us to step into because of that one keyword that you just said, of provability.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, like, if we're going to do great creative in the healthcare space, we have to be able to navigate that without just falling into the temptation of the path of least resistance to get the thing done.
Yes.
And believe it or not, like, your clients want you to fight that fight. And it's not about being yes men. It's also what you said before about, you know, the process of asking your teams to really bring themselves to the table.
Yeah.
Their really unique point of view to the table, rather than just trying to figure out what the client is asking for in terms of like getting the answer right. Like, those two things combined are extremely powerful. They're really effective. And I think that's actually led to a lot of the very close relationships we've had with our clients along the way.
Yeah. It's just that singularity of being like, okay, let's decide not to do the bad work.
Yeah.
So easy.